For part 6, we will be determining the density of our copper metal block by the water displacement method. So again, we're going to take a look at our balance, reading all zeros on our display. We're going to place a weigh boat on our balance. Then we're going to hit the on-off button, which will zero or tear our balance, so that now we see the display reading all zeros again. And then we're going to place our copper metal block on the balance and determine the mass of our copper metal block. And our balance display is reading 71.49 grams. So we have a 100 mil graduated cylinder here that already has water in it. And so again, with our rule of determining volumes in a graduated cylinder, we get eye level to the meniscus. And we see that we have between 40 and 45 mils of water. We have a little bit less than 45. We are exactly on the 44 line. So we have 44.0 milliliters of water initially in our graduated cylinder. So the initial volume of water is 44.0 milliliters. So now we're going to carefully place this copper metal block in our graduated cylinder. And we have to be very careful because this is very massive. And we don't want to just drop it in there because we would risk breaking the bottom out of the graduated cylinder. So again, we're going to tilt and we're going to let that metal slide in the water, and then we're going to raise it back up. And now we're going to determine the final volume of the water. Again, we need to get eye level to the meniscus. So we have between 50 and 55 milliliters of water. We have less than 55, but more than 50. So we see 51 and 52. So we're on the 52 mil line. So the final volume of our water is 52.0 milliliters. And so what we need to do now is just subtract to find the volume of our metal block. Take our final volume, 52, subtract from it 44, and we'll get a volume of 8 milliliters. So now that we know the mass of our metal block, we know the volume of our metal block, now we can calculate the density of the metal block by taking the mass of the block, dividing it by the volume of the block, and that will give us the density. Notice that the units of density are grams per milliliter. The units for density for our block and for our water in the previous part, make sure you write the correct units for density as grams per milliliter. And of course, show your calculation for determining the density of the metal block. So do your final calculation, compare with your partners by going to your group meeting room and then returning to the general meeting area where we will wrap up the lab, talk about your results, and answer any questions that you might have.